Part 26. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 252. Shang Yuna also felt that it was unlikely that Lin Feng would take the initiative to chase Tian Qingzhu. Whether it was before or now, she believed that Lin Feng was a principled person, and she also believed that Lin Feng was a good person. Even if Lin Feng had a relationship with her sister Shang Yunjuan for a period of time, it was based on the mutual satisfaction of the two people. At several critical moments, Lin Feng's strength and demeanor shocked her, making her feel very secure with Lin Feng, but unfortunately, she and Lin Feng couldn't get along. She said, "If Qingzhu really wanted to be your girlfriend, if she offered it, would you accept or reject it?" Lin Feng said, "This." She said, "What is this?" Lin Feng said, "I don't know." She said, "Think about it, give me a clear answer in half an hour. You have to be clear. If you and Qingzhu really get together, it will be wonderful. Don't look at Qingzhu from the remote mountainous area, but she has a very special mood, she won't be jealous like me, and she is so beautiful, which will make you very happy. The key point is that if she has your boyfriend in Beijing, she will probably stay." This question, Shang Yuna and Dainan thought together. Dainan had said this to him before. But now, Lin Feng has a feeling of being used. Both Shang Yuna and Dainan want him to come together with Tian Qingzhu. They think more about Tian Qingzhu's future, not his happiness. Probably because of the beauty of Zhu Taiki, even if there is suspicion of being used, Lin Feng is not too angry, not to mention that this is a very kind use. Don't say it's half an hour, even give him a month. It is unlikely that he will think clearly about this issue. He has been in love twice, and when his third girlfriend arrives, he hopes it will last a little longer. It is best to get a certificate. He is not in love now for fun, but for marriage. If he is with Tian Qingzhu, can he get to the wedding day? If he has his boyfriend, Tian Qingzhu still wants to go back to Qiaoshan town in Shu province, will he also go with him? If he goes, he will be far away from the bustling metropolis. If not, then you have to live the days of separation, or break up. Many things are unpredictable, and he must not be able to think clearly in a short period of time, but Shang Yuna is waiting for his reply. What is most needed now is to change the subject. Lin Feng's hand actually fell on Shang Yuna's chest. The towel were soft and warm, and the feeling was familiar and intoxicating. Until he broke up with Shang Yuna's body did not make him satisfied. Every time it was so enthusiastic, and every time it was unfinished. Both are in their 70s and 80s. Will still be stunned. At that time, Lin Feng wanted to turn Leng Den into the great art of his monk Shang Yuna's life, but unfortunately, his idea fell through. Now Shang Yuna is no longer his girlfriend. Shang Yuna has always looked thoughtful, and it took 2 minutes to realize that Lin Feng's hand was pressing on her chest. It's not his girlfriend anymore. Can he still do this? Where does this make sense? "You bastard, don't touch me, get your paws off." Lin Feng didn't react at all, instead his hand kneaded against Shang Yuna's towering chest. "You rascal! I'm not your girlfriend anymore, you can't do this!" Shang Yuna shouted excitedly. At the same time, he also struggled, his soft body twisted hard, trying to break free from Lin Feng's shackles, but couldn't. If Lin Feng didn't want to let go of her, even if she burst out with all her strength, she couldn't break free. Shang Yuna felt it again. Compared with Lin Feng, his own strength is so weak. Lin Feng's hand reached out from Shang Yuna's neckline and touched her chest more intimately. Soft, warm, and springy. All kinds of good things come. At this time, what echoed in Lin Feng's mind was the warm scene of his monk Yuna in the past. At the beginning, Shang Yuna wasn't very good at posing, but with his gradual training, Shang Yuna was very good at cooperating with him. Shang Yuna's cry will always be very intoxicating. If he is very hard, Shang Yuna's cry will become crazy. After being comfortable again and again, Lin Feng really wanted to do it again, but he couldn't bully Shang Yuna too much. Shang Yuna cried, not only shedding tears, but also crying out. Lin Feng's hand was taken out from her neckline. "You're such an asshole. You said before that I'm a good person. You even said it many times. On the day we broke up, you said it. But you're a today, and you've been a many times before. Oh, do you miss me?" Definitely reluctant. "Do you want to save?" Lin Feng was silent for a moment and said, "No." Shang Yuna's eyes are much more tender than before. "Actually, I also wanted to save you, and I couldn't bear you, but I figured it out later. We are indeed not suitable to be boyfriend and girlfriend, we can only be ordinary friends. I rely on you, you can make me very comfortable, but if you don't listen to me, I'm afraid you will get worse in the future." Lin Feng said, "I think so too, and I won't save it, but what should I do if I really want to eat your tofu today?" Shang Yuna quickly stood up and ran towards the door. After opening the door, she gave Lin Feng a mischievous smile. "I'm leaving, so you can't eat." Lin Feng watched Shang Yuna's back disappear from the room. He didn't chase it out, because it was meaningless, so he thought he was a good friend and came to play with him, and then left. Shang Yuna walked to the street, and the heat wave hit, and all that echoed in her mind were the scenes of Lin Feng stroking her chest. She really wanted to sweep this wet thought out of her mind, but she couldn't do it. She even thought of the scene where she and Lin Feng were turning the clouds over the rain. Her tears stopped flowing, but they flowed out again soon. Really? Let Lin Feng eat tofu again, what is this? At the same time, Lin Feng breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, he didn't have to think about that extremely blurred problem within half an hour. It was almost noon. Shang Yuna called Tian Qing's cell phone in a quiet place about 200 meters away from the front door of Beijing Normal University. Although it is now the era of large-screen smartphones, Tian Qingzhu is still using an old Nokia mobile phone. There are also similar mobile phones on the market, but they are definitely not her model. It is probably more than 100 yuan. "I can't surf the internet, I can't play fun games, and there are no other new features, but the caller ID is still there." Seeing that it was from Shang Yuna, Tian Qingzhu was very nervous, for fear that Shang Yuna would question her. She used to be a good friend, and Shang Yuna introduced her to work at Fengnan fashion store just to make her earn some living expenses. With this dress incident, I am afraid that she and Shang Yuna would not even be able to make friends. Tian Qingzhu made a very nervous voice. "Mr. Shang, are you looking for me?" Shang Yuna said, "Yes, I want to have a chat with you, but don't worry, I won't question you or blame you." Tian Qingzhu vibrato said, "Really? In fact, Lin Feng and I." Shang Yuna said, "You don't need to explain first, just meet and talk." Tian Qingzhu began to think about whether to wear this dress to see Shang Yuna, or to change into a suit. Before she received Shang Yuna's call, she had just made a decision that no matter what the people around her said, she would wear the dress Lin Feng gave her for 3 consecutive days. This time the storm was very big, but she didn't want to compromise, otherwise it won't do her any good in the future. Tian Qingzhu appeared in front of Shang Yuna wearing this dress. Shang Yuna's smile was very gentle, as if she had no intention of blaming her. Maybe Shang Yuna was afraid that she would be under psychological pressure, so she acted like this, and it was necessary to say an apology. Tian Qingzhu said in a low voice, "Mr. Shang, I'm sorry, Lin Feng gave me a skirt, which caused such a big disturbance and involved you." Shang Yuna said with a smile, "It's nothing, I don't care at all. You don't have to worry about it. I won't blame you, and we will be good friends in the future." Tian Qingzhu was very moved, his eyes were moist, and he said with a crying voice, "Mr. Shang, you are really a good person, and Brother Feng is also a good person, but why did you two separate?" Actually what? I was the first person to know that you broke up with Brother Feng. At that time, I had an urge to chat with you and to restore it. I was afraid that you would never meet a better man than Brother Feng in the future. It's gone. Tian Qing's words were very sincere, but after listening to Shang Yuna, she felt a little uncomfortable. She smiled and said, Qingzu, your evaluation of Lin Feng is really high. Do you like him? No, Mr. Shang, don't get me wrong. Brother Feng and I are just ordinary friends. I have never felt that way about him. Qingzu, you have never had a boyfriend, you have reached the age of love, don't miss the good times. Lin Feng is now single. If you really admire him, think he is someone you can rely on for the rest of your life. Man, you can associate with him. I haven't thought about that. Tian Qing's face was flushed, her heart was beating wildly, and she almost dared not look at Shang Yuna's face. Beauty Bamboo seems to be emotional. If it's not emotional, why is it like this? Shang Yuna said, whether you want to fall in love with Lin Feng or not, you can think about it slowly. Now let's go to the school cafeteria for dinner. Let the people in the school see the two of us walking together, and many rumors will not be attacked. Broken. Indeed, a good idea. Simple yet effective. Tian Qingzu didn't have any comments. She was much more relaxed than before, and walked into the campus of Beijing Normal University with Shang Yuna. Immediately it caused a great stir. If Tian Qingzu broke up the relationship between the beautiful teacher Shang Yuna and Lin Feng, according to common sense, Shang Yuna should hate Tian Qingzu very much. But the two of them are walking on the campus together now, talking and laughing, and they are clearly still good friends. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommendation and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 253. What is the problem? Could it be that teacher Shang doesn't hate Beauty Bamboo at all? Strange, maybe a lot of posts on campus forums are made up. There was originally a place for gossip, and many posts were very different from the facts. It was not very credible. Seeing is believing. The relationship between teacher Shang and the beautiful Bamboo is clearly still very good. The effect came out. Shang Yuna and Tian Qingzu were very happy, but when they were sitting in the cafeteria eating spicy hot pot together, Tian Qingzu's heart was a little heavy. Lin Feng is a good person. Lin Feng is now single. Is it really possible for her and Lin Feng to come together? She had never been in love before, and seeing so many couples walking together, she envied many times, but she never found the gentle and trustworthy man in her mind. There are many people chasing her, rich and powerful, but none of those people are what she wants. There are many people who want to play with her with ulterior motives. She is always on guard, and she lives very cautiously every day. Qingzu, eat vegetables quickly. Oh. Only then did Tian Qingzu start eating again. Shang Yuna smiled slightly, and hinted Tian Qingzu with her eyes that since she was interested in Lin Feng, she should contact him more. Walking out of the cafeteria, Tian Qingzu thought of a very interesting question: is Lin Feng a gentle person? She hoped that her boyfriend was gentle, so she thought about whether Lin Feng was a gentle person. Through this period of contact with Lin Feng, it is certain that he has a gentle side. When he was walking on the road very calmly, when he was sitting on a chair and typing, he looked very gentle. But when he is angry, but when he repaired people, he looked so sturdy again. Very gentle and beast? Oh. The word beast must not be used for Brother Feng. Thinking of this, Tian Qingzu's mouth showed a shy smile. The school flower, who was so beautiful to a certain level, was moved. The school flower, who was pure to a certain level, was moved. Shang Yuna and Tian Qingzu circled around the campus, so many people saw them both. Also heard a lot of talk. The orientation of public opinion is gradually developing towards the favorable side. When Tian Qingzu returned to the dormitory, he saw the strange eyes of the three roommates. The first question was the girl who always likes to talk about vulgar words. This time, she wasn't very vulgar when she asked the question, but she still said a few words that Tianqingzi didn't like to hear. Tianqingzi had kindly reminded her before that you are a girl and you should speak more gracefully. But she didn't take it seriously. At that time, she seemed to say, "I'm so stupid, so what are you afraid of, I go, it really doesn't matter." This time Tianqingzi didn't even remind her, and answered all her questions patiently. Then she got the understanding of her three roommates. The three of them understood that the beautiful teacher Shang Yuna did break up with Lin Feng, but it had nothing to do with Tianqingzi. At the same time, they also knew that Lin Feng bought the dress on Tianqingzi's body to reward her for her outstanding performance in Fengnan fashion store some time ago. This kind of rhetoric was taught by Lin Feng to Tianqingzi, and the effect was not generally good after saying it, and she admired Lin Feng again in her heart. That person she called Brother Feng. Let her heart start to move. When Shang Yuna and Tianqingzi were eating spicy hot pot in the cafeteria, Lin Feng was also eating. He ordered 2 stir-fried vegetables and a few bottles of beer. After eating, he went to the restaurant and gave Dainan a serving. It was set aside from different stir-fries, and then I brought a portion of rice and a bottle of fruit oranges. When Dainan was eating, he would sometimes look at Lin Feng with warm eyes. He was used to Dainan's eyes, which represented friendliness. It is really a blessing to have such a good friend as Dainan, and at the same time Lin Feng also thought of his buddy Zhao Heidao. So many years. He and Zhao Heidao have always had a good relationship. If something happens, they can help each other. However, since Su Qingyuan, the daughter of the coal boss, has made waves, his relationship with Zhao Heidao has had serious problems. He is innocent. He had never done that kind of thing with Su Qingyuan. With his character and the circumstances at the time, even if Su Qingyuan seduced him, he would not be hooked. At that time, Su Qingyuan did seduce him in order to retaliate against Zhao Heidao, but his behavior at that time very calm. But up to now, Zhao Heidao still believes that when he was in Shuiqing County, he gave Su Qingyuan. Sometimes, the more painful it is, the more unwilling you are to think about it, the more you can't help thinking about it. Zhao Heidao even imagined that Lin Feng made Su Qingyuan kneel on the bed, and then rushed into her body from behind, violently. Moved. I fantasized about this scenario many times, as if the fantasized scenario actually happened. Zhao Heidao even has the heart to work hard with Lin Feng, let alone being friends. What made Lin Feng even more depressed was that something that had never happened before, but Su Qingyuan said it as if it were true. Su Qingyuan even said that Lin Feng had made her happy several times, but Lin Feng had never even seen her soft and moist outline. Some time ago, Lin Feng met Zhao Heidao twice on the internet. Every time he sent him a message, he did not reply. It is estimated that Lin Feng was about to be blacklisted. Thinking of this, Lin Feng sighed lightly. Dainan showed a very ambiguous smile. "What are you sighing? Looking at your soulless appearance, do you miss the beautiful bamboo?" Lin Feng did not express his thoughts just now. He had said this to Dainan before. Dainan was very anxious for him, and suggested that he go to Taiyuan and explain the matter in person. At present, Lin Feng does not have a suitable time. Even if there is time in the future, can he really make it clear after meeting Zhao Heidao and Su Qingyuan? Maybe there will be a lot of things that he can't predict when he gets there, and thinking about it will make his head hurt. Can't wait for Lin Feng's reply, Dainan said again. Judging from your appearance, you must be thinking of Beauty Bamboo. She probably has nothing to do in the afternoon. Why don't you invite her to a movie? Lin Feng said, I don't miss her anymore, I miss you. I really want to pull down the roller shutter and take off your pants. Sounds sturdy. If you do it, it must be extremely comfortable. Dainan has fantasized about Lin Feng's body many times, and what it would be like to do that with Lin Feng, but up to now, her ambiguity with Lin Feng is limited to kissing and touching, and sometimes, she will use her mouth to solve Lin Feng. Dinan said angrily, "You bastard, what you do will affect the business of the store." The first thing she considered was the business of the store, not whether Lin Feng could take off her trousers. Lin Feng had put his hand into Dinan's trousers and touched her before. Dinan was willing to let Lin Feng touch her, but he was unwilling to do it with Lin Feng. Lin Feng said with a smile, "If it doesn't affect the business of the store, you don't care." Dinan said, "It depends on what you do after taking off my trousers. On the premise of not doing that, it's fine for me to take a bath with you." A magical realm. Lin Feng just wanted to say, "Let's take a bath together when we have a chance." At this time, someone came to the store, and Dinan went to introduce something. Half an hour later, Lin Feng left the store and returned to his master bedroom. He fell asleep quickly after lying on the bed. He had several dreams in a row. When he woke up, he had forgotten what he had dreamed about. Look at the time, it's 3 o'clock. After opening the document and browsing through the plot of yesterday's code, Lin Feng began to create a new plot. Wen Qing, the beauty editor-in-chief, came over with news of her illness and asked if he was there. Lin Feng, yes. Wen Qing is not a disease, you passed the price increase review for this batch. Congratulations, you have raised a lot this time. Lin Feng's heart jumped wildly, which excited him more than winning money by fighting with people, because he didn't want to make money with Kung Fu. Kung Fu was used to defend himself and protect his friends, and what he wanted most was to make money through code words. Finally got to wait for another price increase. Lin Feng didn't ask how much it was mentioned, believing that Wen Qing would tell him soon if he was not sick, he just smiled. Wen Qing was not sick and did not verbally tell Lin Feng how much he mentioned, but directly sent the draft fee change agreement. Lin Feng was even more excited when he saw the draft fee standard after the price increase. 100 yuan per 1,000 words. There is still a gap between this and the top-level master's manuscript fee, but it is much higher than his previous 40 yuan per 1,000 words. In this way, he can get a manuscript fee of about 30,000 yuan a month, which is a person who earns 30,000 yuan a month. Wen Qing is not sick, are you happy? Lin Feng, of course. Wen Qing is not a disease, sign and copy as soon as possible, and then mail the agreement. Oh, if you have time, send it over. Lin Feng, then I will send it over this afternoon. Wen Qing is not a disease, no problem, but you'd better stay later. Why don't you come over after get off work and invite me to dinner while delivering the agreement? I'm a loyal reader of yours now, and I follow your books every day. You raised the price, and I just slaughtered you. Lin Feng, no problem. Soon I will meet the beauty editor. Lin Feng found that his body is very tall and straight. He didn't have any evil thoughts about the beauty editor, but his body could not help but straighten up. Probably because Wen Qing is not too sick and beautiful, and she is a woman with a story. A plot written by Lin Feng before, which coincides with her story, can be regarded as a miracle, but this kind of miracle is definitely created by life. According to the current manuscript fee standard, he can earn 100 yuan for every 1,000 words in the code. Even if the speed is not very fast in an hour, if he writes more than 3,000 words, that is more than 300 yuan. With a little diligence, he can earn more than 1,000 yuan in royalties a day, which is definitely a very pleasant thing for him. In the excitement, Lin Feng code words very fast, more than 5,000 words in more than an hour, glanced at the time, he plans to code for another half an hour, and then go out to copy the agreement. Another half an hour later, Lin Feng had already typed nearly 8,000 words this afternoon. The speed was very fast, and the plot was very satisfying to him. After copying the agreement and signing it, he got in a taxi and hurried towards the company. When he arrived, the beauty editor-in-chief Ai Wen was already waiting for him. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommendation and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Peach Youth. Author, Sci-fi. Chapter 254. Wen's online name Wenqing is not a disease, and she is a woman with a bit of Wenqing plot, so she likes Lin Feng to call her Wenqing. It has been a long time since the last meeting. Wen's Hung was afraid that Lin Feng would forget, so he reminded him, please call me Wenqing. Lin Feng said with a smile, I'm going to call you Wenqing. Wen smiled, the style diffused. Lin Feng also smiled, he was admiring Wen's style. Lin Feng wanted to say, Wenqing, your smile is very beautiful and charming, but saying that seems to be a little teasing to the beauty editor-in-chief, so it is better to be cautious. Annoying the beauty editor-in-chief will not benefit him at all. Through previous interactions with Wen, Lin Feng felt that she was a woman with a broad heart and a woman who was frustrated in love. At this time, her boyfriend, the man who had received a lot of help from her, had come to the United States for his own future and got a very golden position in an investment bank. For this man, the people and things in the past are not important, the future is the most important. This man has been striding forward, not wanting to reminisce about the past, nor to appreciate the scenery by the roadside. Lin Feng said, what do you want to eat? Why don't I treat you to seafood? The manuscript fee has been raised a lot at this time. Lin Feng has a great desire to consume. Even if it costs Wen a few thousand yuan for a meal, he will not hurt at all. Wen said, go to my house to eat. The beauty editor-in-chief obviously has no interest in eating seafood. Maybe she doesn't like seafood, maybe she still eats seafood but doesn't want to eat it today. Lin Feng said, oh, so I have to buy food to cook, why don't I just eat it in a restaurant outside, if you don't want to eat seafood? We can choose other hotels, there are good restaurants and restaurants nearby. Wen's footsteps stopped, and Lin Feng also stopped. Wen looked at Lin Feng's face and said, are you still afraid that I will tease you when I bring you home? The editor-in-chief of the Beauty even mentioned molesting, which is a word that can rapidly increase the concentration of hormones. Lin Feng was embarrassed. He smiled and said, of course not. I just feel that buying vegetables and going back to cook them cost too little money, and I have raised a lot of manuscript fees. Why don't you give me a chance to express yourself and invite you to a feast? Evan said. It doesn't matter how much you want to spend. In fact, I have only had dinner with two authors alone, one is you and the other is a woman. Sitting in Wen's car, Lin Feng tasted a very intoxicating aroma. There is also the smell of Wen's skin, which is a little sweet and smells good. The car was speeding on the asphalt road, and the song Barbed Window by Su Meijing reverberated in the car, a very classic old song, but Lin Feng felt the taste of loss. Maybe Wen's mood at this time is similar to the mood of this song. When Lin Feng glanced at Wen's face, he actually saw that Wen's eyes were wet. Lin Feng didn't want Wen to cry while driving, which would affect driving safety. He said, are you in a bad mood? Wen couldn't help but become like this. He didn't notice it at all just now, and suddenly he was a little embarrassed. Is there? I seem to be in a good mood. Wen's tears did not flow out, and gradually, her eyes were not so moist. I bought vegetables along the way, and went to Wen, a 3-bedroom house with about 90 square meters. This was supposed to be the love nest of her and that man named Zhou Liqin, but now Zhou Liqin flew away. On the other side of the ocean, she can only live here by herself. Lin Feng was sitting on the sofa watching TV. Wen brought tea and said with a smile, take a rest, and then I'll cook. Lin Feng felt a little embarrassed. Helplessly smiled, I should have invited you, but you don't want to eat at the restaurant outside. You pay for the food, and you have to cook for me to eat? Aiwen's beautiful eyes flashed, and he smiled and said, "Did you feel honored?" Lin Feng said, "Very honored." His answer just now was not hypocritical at all, and he did feel honored, because Aiwen was not only his editor-in-chief, but also a very beautiful beauty. The feeling of being served by beautiful women always makes a man very comfortable. Lin Feng originally wanted to invite Aiwen to a big meal, but he arrived at Aiwen's house, and Aiwen wanted to serve him. Aiwen said, "It doesn't matter, I really don't need to care too much. It's the same for whoever spends money, and whoever cooks is the same. I now not only treat you as an author, but also as a friend." Lin Feng said, "Because I wrote a plot that happened to coincide with your and Zhou Liken's experiences?" Aiwen said, "There is this reason, but the bigger reason is that you are a very reliable person. You can see from the update and quality of your novels that you are a very reliable person. If you are an unreliable person, even if you pretend to be, it is impossible to pretend to be very similar every day. Sooner or later, there will be gangs, and then people who know him will find that this is an unreliable person. Lin Feng himself is a very reliable person. He is very reliable to his relatives and friends, and he is also very reliable to his career. Maybe Aiwen tasted some people wrong before, but she tasted Lin Feng correctly. Usually, the editors of the editorial department will inevitably talk about the authors signed by the company. In addition to talking about the quality of the books of different authors, other issues will inevitably be involved, such as character. In the company, not only Aiwen spoke highly of Lin Feng, but other editors also spoke highly of Lin Feng, believing that his character was very good, his storytelling was very insightful, and his future was limitless. Aiwen said, "Do you still live in a partition room?" Lin Feng said, "No, I live in the master bedroom, next to many partition rooms, but my room has load-bearing walls." Aiwen laughed. The load-bearing wall that Lin Feng said just now made her laugh. Her smile was sudden and violent, causing her well-defined to sway in front of Lin Feng. If a woman's are big, it is easy to rippling, and the moment when the spring waves sway is the most ecstasy. I didn't want to hunt for beauty, but Aiwen's chest swayed happily, seducing Lin Feng's eyes. Aiwen noticed that Lin Feng was glancing at her breasts, but she did not criticize her face to face, because she knew that her were rippling just now. She has a beautiful face and a great figure. Whether she is walking on the street or working in a company, people will always give her a few more glances. But it's nothing, as long as it doesn't disappear. As for what kind of situation the people watching her will come up with after making up their own minds, it's not her concern. Aiwen generally chooses to ignore those who are hunting for beauty. She can face it proudly or gracefully. If she encounters a wretched pervert, Aiwen will not be polite, she will use her own fists and feet. Aiwen is very graceful and amorous. She is very capable and agile when she works in the company. At this time, she is wearing an apron standing in the kitchen, but she has the taste of a home woman. If a woman can show different tastes in different situations, then she must be very good, even if her appearance is generally very good, not to mention Aiwen is a beautiful woman. Lin Feng was standing beside Aiwen, Aiwen's body fragrance was surrounding him, but his heart was still relatively calm. In the elegant aroma, he was very comfortable, but his expression was very indifferent, as if he didn't smell anything, as if his body didn't respond at all. Lin Feng said, "I can do something for you." Aiwen said, "As I said just now, you don't need your help, just sit in the living room and watch TV." Lin Feng said, "I can't just wait to eat, I have to work, hurry up and assign tasks to me." Aiwen said, "Then you wash the vegetables." Lin Feng said, "Okay, then I will wash the vegetables." He started to wash the vegetables, moving quickly but cleanly. Aiwen's imagination is very rich, and he actually imagined his skills from Lin Feng's quick washing of vegetables. Ai Wen already knew that Lin Feng is a person who knows Kung Fu, but she doesn't know how high Lin Feng's Kung Fu is. Ai Wen said, "Can you really beat several people by yourself?" Lin Feng said with a smile, "It depends on who the opponent is. If they are ordinary people, it will be no problem to fight a few. If they are all fierce men in the black market boxing world, I guess I can't deal with several at the same time." Ai Wen laughed again, and this time he laughed happily. To Lin Feng's surprise, he actually made Ai Wen laugh twice in such a short time when he got home. When no one is watching, Ai Wen must have shed tears a lot. Maybe she needs to laugh to vent her anger and depression. Lin Feng continued to wash the vegetables, and just glanced at Ai Wen's towering chest a few more times. He even felt a little guilty. It was not someone else standing beside him, but his beauty editor. How could he always glance at her chest? Lin Feng knew that this was an act of hunting for beauty. If Ai Wen had noticed it, what would he think of him? Lin Feng was very afraid that Ai Wen would give him a bad impression. When he was around Ai Wen, he would try to perform as well as possible. What? With a scream, Ai Wen held the knife in his hand and leaned away. An even more terrible thing happened. At that moment, the knife let go and slashed towards her feet. Lin Feng was fast enough. Hurry up. At the moment of bending over, one hand caught the knife with the blade facing down that almost slashed at Ai Wen's foot, and the other hand wrapped around Ai Wen's waist. Ai Wen's waist is very soft, and the heat from the woman's body is fragrant, which is very intoxicating. At the same time, Ai Wen's towering chest squeezes Lin Feng's body. I didn't want to be too ambiguous, but the unexpected situation made the two of them extremely ambiguous. This posture of bending over and hugging was almost fixed. It lasted for almost a minute, and then Lin Feng straightened Ai Wen's body and put the knife on it. On the chopping board. They stared at each other's faces for almost a minute just now. At this time, Lin Feng was embarrassed, and Ai Wen's face flushed. Ai Wen said, "Thanks to you just now, otherwise the kitchen knife would cut my instep, and if the tendons were cut off, I would be lame." The kitchen knife was very heavy, and it fell from the chopping board with a speed that should not be underestimated. If it wasn't for Lin Feng's speed just now, the kitchen knife really slashed Ai Wen's instep, then she would have really become lame. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommendation and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 255. If such a beautiful and graceful beauty suddenly becomes a lame, can she accept it? I am afraid that even the heart of suicide has. Lin Feng said, "It's nothing. If you didn't want to cook for me, it wouldn't have happened just now. You don't have to worry too much about it." Ai Wen smiled. At this time, it was a very intoxicating smile. In fact, she hadn't broken free from the shock just now. She knew very well that it was dangerous just now, and although she hadn't expressed it yet, she already regarded Lin Feng as a benefactor in her heart. Ai Wen said, "What you just said was very delicate, but it also had a taste of the rivers and lakes. Are you a person who can mix well?" Lin Feng felt that it was time for him to be shy. A little shy at this moment would help ease the atmosphere. He said, "How can you not dare to say, but if someone bullies you or troubles you, tell me, it can usually be repaired." Ai Wen said, "If it is a person with a great background, would you dare to repair it?" Lin Feng said that it depends on the background. It is very important to be able to bend and stretch when dealing with people. Even if I know Kung Fu, I usually don't hit anyone who is not pleasing to the eye. Ai Wen said, "Yes, this is how people should be. Men are less violent than gentle, but some gentle people are beasts. We can talk very well. We should talk more when we have time." The beauty editor-in-chief suggested that if there is time to talk more in the future, Lin Feng will naturally have no opinion. But he still didn't know whether Ai Wen wanted to meet and chat often, chat on the mobile phone, or chat frequently online. Probably online. This is more convenient, and there is no need to meet, and there is no need to hear the other party's voice without speaking. If you want to say something, you can express it in words, which is more delicate and bold. It is easy to express in words what is difficult to communicate with words. So if a man chases a woman, he usually sends a love letter or a rose before saying I love you. Lin Feng didn't want to hear Ai Wen say he loved him, and knew that Ai Wen would hardly say love to him. The so-called chat is to pour out your heart and adjust your life. Lin Feng also knew that Ai Wen would often be online at night. But he almost never sent a message to Ai Wen at night. First, he was afraid of misunderstanding, and second, he didn't know what to send. If he wanted to ask about the book, he would usually send a message when Ai Wen was at work. Ai Wen's cooking skills are not bad, and Lin Feng has already smelled the aroma of the vegetables. Very appetizing, but also found that the body is very upright. The scent of vegetables would not stimulate Lin Feng's uprightness, but Ai Wen's scent would stimulate his uprightness. There is a kind of incense called irresistible. If you are stimulated by this incense, you have to endure it. If you can't help it, you will do something very rogue. It can be romantic, but not lewd. Don't be a hooligan, this is not lewd, the hooligan is a hooligan, and this is romantic. Lin Feng didn't intend to be a hooligan today. His trousers are relatively loose, and I hope Ai Wen doesn't notice that proud silhouette, otherwise he is very likely to despise him as a habitual leader of gold bugs who is easily provoked when he sees a woman. Lin Feng and Ai Wen sat at the dining table. Lin Feng thought that Ai Wen would bring red wine to entertain him, but he did not expect to bring white wine, a little confused fairy. Ai Wen poured white wine into the 2 wine cups and said with a smile, Lin Feng, congratulations on the price increase of your manuscript fee again, touch 1. Lin Feng said, thank you. He and Ai Wen clinked glasses and took a sip of white wine, but Ai Wen drank it. I never thought she would do it. This kind of wine cup can hold 1 or 2, that is to say, Ai Wen just drank 1 or 2 white wine in 1 sip. Lin Feng quickly took a sip before putting down the wine cup. After it was dry, he put down the wine cup and took a mouthful of meat and vegetables into his mouth. He smiled and said, it tastes really good. Ai Wen said, in fact, I am a foodie. I am greedy when I see delicious food. I used to eat snacks when I was in school. Fortunately, my figure has been kept in good shape. Lin Feng said, your figure is very good. Ai Wen said, great writer, your writing is very good, so can you describe my figure? Lin Feng jokingly said, do you think of the tricks in my novel? Ai Wen said, even if I don't want to play tricks in your novel, you have written a plot that is very similar to my real life before. Although the plot you wrote has passed hundreds of thousands of words, I am still surprised. Just watched it again a few days ago. Lin Feng said, did you cry at that time? Ai Wen said, I'm not afraid of your joke. I cried for a long time, my eyes were red from crying, and my body was very uncomfortable. I had already taken a bath, but I could only take another bath, which made me feel a little more comfortable. Lin Feng said, I'm sorry, my story has stimulated you. In fact, I hope you can find happy elements in my novels. Ai Wen said that sometimes being sad is also a kind of happiness, it depends on the mentality of that person. Oh, it seems that the conversation is wrong, in fact, I want you to describe my body face to face. Lin Feng is stumped, can he apply multiple hot words to Ai Wen? Saying this in person is very provocative. If he didn't use these words, he would feel sorry for him, thinking that he didn't describe it properly. After all, Ai Wen is a beautiful and hot woman, and it is easy to stimulate the primitive impulses of men. Lin Feng smiled embarrassedly, don't look at me showing off my writing occasionally when I'm writing a book. In fact, if I say it verbally, I can't say anything. He is here to be a guest, not to offend people. He understands the truth that calamity comes out of his mouth. If he can, he will try not to say it. Ai Wen said, there is nothing to worry about. Are you still afraid that I will be angry after hearing your description, and then put on small shoes for you? Even if I am your editor-in-chief, I don't have that much authority. Although you are not a top level now, you are also a popular author of the company. If I want to rectify you, the editor-in-chief and the general manager will not agree. Say it, say whatever you want. I miss you. If Lin Feng really dared to say that, Ai Wen might slap him on the spot. In fact, Lin Feng doesn't want to go to Ai Wen. He just wants to be friends with Ai Wen. He usually talks more about novels. If he wants to talk about life problems, he can also talk about it. Ai Wen said, you are too cautious, you will make me uncomfortable, hurry up. The beauty editor-in-chief forced him to say that he could only go out of his way. Amorous, graceful, plump, trustworthy. Lin Feng used more than 10 adjectives for Ai Wen. Instead of being angry, Ai Wen was very happy. She said, can you be more specific? You have said so many words, which one do I belong to? Lin Feng said that you can find all the shadows of these words on your body. Your figure is so amazing. If a man gets you in the future, it will definitely be very comfortable. Certainly not too excited. Sure enough, he said too much. Lin Feng even said that he was comfortable enough, and he almost said the pleasure. Lin Feng looked at Ai Wen's face again, and all he saw was crimson. He could only laugh. Ai Wen said, thank you for your affirmation. Lin Feng was really afraid that Ai Wen would call him a rogue, but he thanked him for his affirmation. Lin Feng smiled and said, nothing, you are like this. This meal is almost over. Lin Feng is full, Ai Wen is full, and a bottle of Little Confused Immortal is also finished. Lin Feng glanced at the empty wine bottle, and said with a smile, why are you drinking Little Confused Immortal? It's as if a man has already done it with a woman and suddenly asks, why did we do it? Evan said, is it strange? Lin Feng said, as far as your mood is concerned, it's very strange. Do you want to be confused? Ai Wen was silent, and only said after a few minutes, let you guess right, I just want to pretend to be confused. I have always wanted to drink during this time, and indeed I drank a lot, and the ones I drank were Little Confused scents. Last time I went to the supermarket and bought a case and came back, but we just drank the last bottle. Lin Feng smiled relievedly. Confusion can paralyze a person, but it's better to live a sober life. In fact, you have always been sober. It was like this when you drank Little Confused Immortal, and it will be like this in the future. It was getting dark. Lin Feng wanted to leave quickly, but he was too embarrassed to leave as soon as he finished eating, so he could only sit down and watch TV with Ai Wen. Ai Wen said that after the Spring Festival until now, I have slept very late, sometimes watching TV until 2 in the morning, sometimes surfing the internet until 2 in the morning, sometimes lying in bed thinking about things, and suddenly realizing that it was already early morning. Yes, but he hasn't fallen asleep yet. Lin Feng said that this is not good, it will affect your body and your work. Ai Wen smiled and said that it may affect my body, but generally it will not affect my work. Even if I don't sleep all night, I will be very energetic when I arrive at the company in the morning, because I love my job and I am very excited when I work. Lin Fengzin said, you are really a good editor and a good woman. If you don't love this industry very much, I'm afraid you have already gone to the United States to find that man named Zhou Liqin. Lin Feng mentioned Zhou Liqin. Ai Wen was silent, her face became more and more ugly, as if she was about to collapse. Lin Feng said, what happened? Ai Wen said with a crying voice that he was married to a Chinese-American girl. He informed me, I blessed him, and later I saw the wedding photo of him and that woman, that woman is very beautiful, has a pair of dimples. Lin Feng lit a cigarette and exhaled a strong breath of smoke. It seems that you have been waiting for him, and you have always wanted him to miraculously appear in front of you. Yeah, before I heard the news of his marriage, I always had this idea. Wasn't it naive? It's not naivete, it's persistence. Lin Feng even wanted to tell her the story of Wang Xiaoqian and Zhang Jian. Zhang Jian was sentenced to life, but Wang Xiaoqian was still waiting for him, hoping that he would remarry after he was released from prison. But Ai Wen and Wang Xiaoqian are two types of people. From childhood to adulthood, they lived in different environments, received different educations, and now have different lifestyles. Except for their obsession with the man they love, they have nothing in common. Maybe he told the story of Wang Xiaoqian and Zhang Jian, and Ai Wen would be disgusted. He would think it was too rude, and he would also think that a mad girl loves a mad man, and it is not worth talking about. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommendation and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 256. Lin Feng said, "You have been worthy of him before. If you have to say that one owes the other, he also owes you. Since this is the case, you can also make a new choice. There is no shortage of excellent men around you. Marry a man too." Ai Wen said, "I really wanted to get married and wanted to be a mother. I am a woman who likes children very much. When I see cute children on the street, I will smile and even look at them for a long time, but now I think that getting married and having children, it's a legend to me." Lin Feng said that many legends will become reality. "You are so beautiful and outstanding, and your future husband will be great. I firmly believe this." "Thank you." Ai Wen expressed his gratitude to Lin Feng again. "I want to sing, can you sing with me?" "If you want to sing, then I'll sing with you." It seems that it is impossible to leave quickly. Ai Wen wants him to sing with him, and he agrees. The amp was turned on and the accompaniment played. Ai Wen sang 2 songs in a row, both old songs and very sad songs. Her tears kept flowing, but Lin Feng did not take a tissue to wipe Ai Wen's tears. Ai Wen is a person with a literary plot. She is very nostalgic. In fact, Lin Feng is also a very nostalgic person. Sometimes when he is alone, he will even think about what toys he played with when he was a child. He wanted to comfort Ai Wen very much, but he couldn't find a suitable way. A little carelessness might lead his relationship with the beauty editor Ai Wen astray. What Ai Wen needs is Zhou Liken, but this man is already married to a Chinese-American girl. Lin Feng definitely doesn't want to be Zhou Liken's substitute, because a substitute usually doesn't have good results. Ai Wen began to sing the 3rd song, and it was still a very sad song. At this time, her body was already leaning on Lin Feng's shoulder. Lin Feng experienced softness and warmth, and the scent-smelling stimulation caused the small universe in his body to burst out continuously. If he hugs Ai Wen at this moment, what will be the result? Lin Feng didn't think so after just thinking about it for a while. Tonight, it doesn't matter whether Ai Wen is calm or not. He has to be relatively calm. "Hold me." Lin Feng heard right. Ai Wen asked him to hug her. Lin Feng looked at Ai Wen's face and saw the beauty and sad tears. He said, "Is this inappropriate?" Evan said, "It's just the 2 of us here, no one else sees it. I just want you to hug me, nothing else." To hug or not to hug? If he doesn't hug, maybe Ai Wen won't be angry, but he will definitely be very disappointed. Lin Feng didn't want to let Ai Wen get too lost. He finally hugged Ai Wen, not too tightly, for fear that he would accidentally touch her chest. The 3rd sad song was finally sung. Lin Feng even wanted to sing a very happy song to make Ai Wen laugh, but doing so was suspected of being stupid. Maybe Ai Wen can laugh now, and he may feel that when he thinks about it later he is very second. It's not always the time to be funny. If he did that, Ai Wen would think that he didn't understand the style and the pain of a woman. Forget it, let him sing when Ai Wen asks him to sing. If Ai Wen wants to be a my pa, then he should be an audience. Let's sing a duet. Lin Feng was frightened because Ai Wen wanted to sing with him. Lin Feng said with a smile, "What are you singing duet?" Ai Wen said, "Hiroshima Love or Heart Rain." Lin Feng is not very good at singing Hiroshima Love, but he can sing Heart Rain. He smiled and said, "Then sing Heart Rain." The accompaniment sounded, Ai Wen still leaned on Lin Feng's body, and Lin Feng still hugged Ai Wen's soft waist. My thoughts are an untouchable net, my thoughts are no longer a sea with a broken embankment. This is Evan's voice. Sweet and delicate. Why do I always remember you deeply on those rainy days? This is Lin Feng's voice, which can only be described as not ugly, but Ai Wen felt that Lin Feng sang very well, and gave him a bright smile, but the tears on Ai Wen's face were still not wiped away. My heart is the love of June, it is drizzling rain. Evan is very involved. Lin Feng can only be very devoted. The song was not long, but it was really a complete duet. It was not a small project. In just a few minutes, Lin Feng's mood changed several times in a row. Ai Wen said, "You sing very well." Lin Feng said that it happened to be a song that I could sing. In fact, I have no talent for singing. After arriving in Beijing, I almost never went to KTV. Yvonne said, "You are always humble." Lin Feng said that he didn't have much ability. But he said in his heart, "In fact, I'm okay, although I'm still running towards my ideals, and although I'm still fighting for my dreams, I'm still pretty good." Ai Wen said, "Where do you usually go on dates with girls?" Lin Feng said, "Bring it to where I live." Ai Wen laughed and looked at Lin Feng's face a little ambiguous. She didn't want to go home with Lin Feng, but what Lin Feng said just now made her show such an emotion. Lin Feng was very afraid that Ai Wen would say ambiguous words, which would make it difficult for him to answer, but Ai Wen still said it. "Don't you think it's more convenient to do something bad that way?" she said, "dating where you live, anything can happen." Lin Feng said, "That is not necessarily because I am very principled. For example, the two of us are now, just the two of us, and your home is very warm, but nothing happened to the two of us." Lin Feng then let go of Ai Wen and stopped hugging her soft waist. When the two bodies were slightly away from each other, the heat was still there, and the taste of the moment was also wonderful. Ai Wen's expression was a little different. It seemed that when Lin Feng hugged her just now, it was embarrassing for Lin Feng. At this time, he was far away. Ai Wen smiled and said, "I was very rude today, I hope I didn't scare you." Lin Feng said, "This is human nature, I was not frightened by you, and I have no opinion on you." Ai Wen said, "It's getting late, why don't you go first, and write well after you go back, your manuscript fee will get higher and higher, maybe the next supreme is you." Lin Feng said with a smile, "Come step by step. I will not slack off." He said to himself that the fee for the manuscript is 100 yuan per 1,000 words. If I don't code words diligently, am I not a fool? Even if my manuscript fee reaches 1,000 words and 1,000 yuan in the future, I will still be a very diligent author. Evan offered to drive him. Lin Feng must have refused, let Ai Wen have a good rest, and try to go to bed as early as possible. Since Zhou Liqin has married a Chinese-American girl, it is time for her to start a new life. Lin Feng got into the taxi and reminisced about the scene between him and Ai Wen along the way. There is warmth, romance, ambiguity, and sadness. He was originally a person who had just lost love, and it was the second time he had lost love. Both girls were his loves. But they didn't go to the end with him. In his current state, it is really not easy to comfort a sad woman. What is certain is that he and Ai Wen are closer, and more friends than before. Lin Feng asked the taxi to stop on the side road outside Fengnan Fashion Store, and he got out of the car. To the store. Dainan and Tian Qingzu were talking about Lin Feng just now. Dainan kept telling Tian Qingzu how good and capable Lin Feng was. Tian Qingzu has been listening, but she didn't express her position much, but her heart moved again and again. That taste excited her and made her panic. Seeing Lin Feng walk in, Dainan immediately stopped talking, and the moment he raised his long hair, he gave Lin Feng a bright smile. The two beauties were very shining, but Lin Feng didn't deliberately look at anyone, especially he didn't want Tian Qingzu to misunderstand his eyes. Lin Feng helped him to the edge of the cashier and asked with a smile, "What were you two talking about just now? It's so warm." Dainan just wanted to say that there was nothing to talk about, but Tian Qingzu took the lead. The beautiful Zhu said coquettishly, "I'm talking about you. Sister Nan has been telling me that you are a very good person. You are very capable." Lin Feng was a little embarrassed, and said in his heart, "Beauty Bamboo, you speak quickly today, it seems that you are in a good mood." Although the turmoil caused by the dress has not subsided, the enthusiasm has increased, but Tian Qingzu's mood has gradually improved. The reason for this effect is inseparable from the guidance of Lin Feng and Dainan. Tian Qingzu has decided to face everything happily. Lin Feng changed the subject and asked Dainan with a smile, "How is the turnover today?" Dainan said that it has reached 2,500 yuan. "I don't know if it can reach 3,000 yuan before closing. If it is convenient for you, we will buy the goods tomorrow morning." Lin Feng said that it was time to buy the goods, and this time I brought back the goods of 20,000 yuan. Dainan said, "Okay, I like to hear you say this the most." Tian Qingzu felt that Lin Feng and Dainan were very suitable. The two of them had a very good relationship. It was a very special relationship that made it a little unclear, but she also found that Dainan did not want to be Lin Feng's girlfriend. The meaning of: when a customer came in, Tian Qingzu became busy. When the people came in, they were more concerned about the dress on Tian Qingzu. "Why is your body so good? How can you look so good in this dress?" People are more than people, mad at people, envy, jealous and hate. When the store closed, although the store's turnover did not exceed 3,000, it exceeded 2,800. Dainan was very satisfied. Lin Feng and Dainan sent Tian Qingzu back to the girls' dormitory together, and then walked out. Dainan said, "Where did you go at night?" Lin Feng said, "I went to my editor-in-chief." Dainan said, "Is that beautiful woman whose online name is Wenqing, isn't she sick?" Lin Feng said it was her. Dainan said, "Play ambiguous." Lin Feng said, "Of course not, I can't be ambiguous when I see beautiful women, it's easy to pay the price." Dainan said, "Has your manuscript fee increased?" Lin Feng said, 1,000 words and 100. Dainan said, "I'm dizzy, so high. I admire you so much, so that you can easily get around 30,000 yuan a month." Lin Feng said, "You are dizzy at only 1,000 words and 100 words. If I reach 500,000 words or more, what will you be like?" Dainan said that he passed out and woke up, then passed out again, repeating back and forth for an hour. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommendation and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 257. Oh. As soon as she finished speaking, Dainan screamed, because Lin Feng screwed her round buttocks very hard. Dainan said angrily, "You are really willing to use force, you are not afraid of my pain." Lin Feng said, "I don't seem to be exerting much force. It is estimated that your is not even blue and purple." If it was us who did that, I would exert more force. Dinan's face suddenly turned red, and her reaction was very violent. After a while, she said, "Don't think about it, I won't do that with you. If you want to celebrate the increase in the manuscript fee by doing that, you can only ask another woman. Maybe I let you down, but I really don't want to." Linfeng said, "In fact, I just made a joke." Dinan said, "I also hope that I think too much." Linfeng returned to the master bedroom, and Dinan returned to her partition room. Linfeng planned to code out 5,000 words before going to sleep. He turned on the computer and opened the pages of the novel. The manuscript fee mentioned 1,000 yuan per 1,000 words, which was much higher than he expected, which made him want to know who Yang Chunbaixue was. If there was no bright spring and white snow, his novels would not have attracted so many people's attention, and so many people would not have known that his novels are of high quality. If there is no such sensational effect, in the next 2 years, even if he has been working hard, his manuscript fee may not be able to mention 1,000 words and 100 yuan. In his thoughts, half an hour passed before he knew it. Linfeng lit a cigarette and started typing on the keyboard. Tomorrow morning, he would go to buy goods with Dinan, and he didn't want to write it too late. When Linfeng wrote 2,000 words, he heard a knock on the door. He opened the door and saw Dinan in thin pajamas. Linfeng had never seen her wearing this lavender night dress with white dark flowers before. The charm of this night dress was very special, making Dinan's graceful body looming. "Wait for Dinan to walk in." Linfeng immediately closed the door, staring at Dinan and admiring it. "Okay." No chest photos were worn, and the towering chest was swaggering in a kind of hazy. "Okay." He was wearing shorts, and the silhouette made his blood boil. "Okay." Dinan sat on the sofa, and Linfeng quickly sat down. The moment he hugged Dinan, he opened her neckline with his hands and saw the pair of full breasts. The pair of buds were extremely intoxicating. With a breath of smoke, Dinan's towering chest lingered with smoke. She glanced at Linfeng angrily. "Just now you looked at me with the eyes of a hooligan for a long time, and then you acted as a hooligan." Linfeng said. "More rogues are yet to come." His hand reached in from Dinan's neckline and touched Dinan's towering chest. "You are ravaging me." Hearing Dinan's sharp voice, Linfeng's hand stopped immediately, and he took it out quickly. "I'm sorry I made you feel bad, but I didn't mean to ravage you. Just wanted to. I just want to touch it, right?" Dinan's beautiful eyes flashed at Linfeng. Linfeng began to ponder whether Dinan was really angry or fake. He was really guilty when he heard her talk about the ravages just now. "Looking at your appearance, I know that you haven't touched it just now, so continue to touch it." "Are you taking care of my emotions?" Linfeng said. "You can think of it as I really want you to touch right now." Since Dinan said so, Linfeng naturally continued to touch. He planned to make Dinan cool. This time, Linfeng's hand didn't go in from the neckline, but from below. The calf is smooth. The thighs are plump. Linfeng's hand stopped on Dinan's trousers, and he touched the sultry silhouette, which was extremely warm. Dinan's face was flushed, his eyes were raised. He stared at Linfeng's face for a moment, and hummed, "I knew that your bastard's hand would stop at my part. Forget it, you can touch it wherever you want." "Where?" Dinan let go of his hand. His hand comfortably reached into Dinan's trousers. Fast 10 minutes of teasing. His hands were wet, and Dinan's breathing continued. Through Dinan's reaction, Linfeng was sure that she was very comfortable just now, so he continued to touch up, and his hand finally fell on Dinan's towering chest. This is the destination. But just now his hand took a detour and explored a more intoxicating mystery. Unconsciously, more than half an hour passed. Linfeng's body was hot, and Dinan's body was also hot. "If you keep going, you can only roll over onto the bed." In Lin Feng's words, she was stunned, but Dinan didn't want to be stunned with him at this time. She looked flustered, and said in a vibrato, "Lin Feng, I'm going back to sleep, you can type, if you don't want to, go to bed earlier." Dinan walked out. Lin Feng's hands are full of the smell of Dinan's body. Intoxicated enough to make people crazy, but Lin Feng can't be crazy now, he has to code another 3,000 words. After sitting on the chair and smoking a cigarette, he was finally settled. He continued to type on the keyboard. Lines of words appeared in the document. 1,000 words and 100 words is nothing more than a big breakthrough for Lin Feng, who has not been in the business for a long time. But this is not the end for him, he still has a long way to go, and he will keep increasing his royalties, because this is his career. Morning. Lin Feng and Dinan went to buy a batch of goods, including various styles of women's bags and other small commodities. Dinan proposed to bring a batch of things suitable for boys to the store, such as razors, lighters, belts, and so on. What Lin Feng means is, don't put these things on first. First of all, the area of the small store is limited and it is full. Even if you add men's products, you can't add much, so it will be nondescript. Dinan said that it is enough to sell for money. Lin Feng said that Fengnan fashion store is now a little more famous in the nearby area. In the concept of many people, this is a girl's store, and it's just a matter of continuing to operate according to the existing thinking. Dinan said, "It seems very reasonable, but when will we expand the scale?" Lin Feng said that after the first pot of gold has been obtained, at least the small store will have to wait for a year before considering expanding its scale. At that time, there will be more money and more experience. Lin Feng actually thought so. After getting the first pot of gold and experience points through this small shop, I will sell this small shop, and then find a larger and more suitable store to sell other products, such as cosmetics or brand clothing. Dinan agrees with this. 1/3 of the incoming and outgoing goods are placed on the shelves of the store, and the other 2/3 are in stock. Both of them wanted to display more, but the storefront was limited. Dinan said that it would be great if the store could have 100 square meters. Lin Feng said that there will be in the future, 100 square meters is nothing, 200 square meters or 300 square meters are possible. Dinan said softly, "It's wonderful to think about, that day will come soon and make me feel better." Lin Feng had lunch with Dinan in the small shop before returning to his master bedroom. He didn't sleep well last night. He planned to sleep for 2 hours before coding. Just when Lin Feng was lying on the bed and drowsiness, the hot girl Xiakaiki, who was already working as a shopping guide at the Zara store on the other side of Kuomao, came. As soon as I walked into the store, I chatted with Dinanra. Xiakaiki's brows were beaming, her hips twisted, and she was a bit unhappy with joy. She was happier than a bride who had experienced 6 pleasures on her wedding night. Xiakaiki hasn't married yet, and she hasn't had a bridal chamber yet, but she has already taken a fancy to Lin Feng and really wants to be Lin Feng's girlfriend. Xiakaiki said softly, "I'm doing a lot better now than before. I played very well in the Zara store over there in Kuomao. It is estimated that I can get more than 15,000 yuan in the first month with a basic salary and a bonus, and I can get more than 20,000 yuan after a period of time. Do you admire me?" Dinan said, "I admire you very much." Xiakaiki said, "What happened to that kid Lin Feng?" Dinan said that he is better than you and me, and his royalties are all mentioned in 1,000 words and 100. I rely on. Really fierce. Xiakaiki opened her eyes wide and shouted, and after a while, she said, "In this way, this kid can get about 30,000 yuan a month for the manuscript fee." Dinan said, "Isn't it?" Xiakaiki's red lips puffed up and muttered, "So, it's still very difficult for me to shock him." Dinan couldn't help but pouted. Xiakaiki said anxiously, "You are not allowed to grin and despise me." Don't you think that Lin Feng and I really have nothing to do with each other? Dinan said, no. Xiaka Iki said, don't hit me, okay? Look how good I was just now. It's not good at all now. Dinan said, don't always think about Lin Feng, your mood will naturally be better, it's nothing to play, if you always think about it, your mood will get worse and worse. Xiaka Iki said, but Lin Feng and Shang Yuna have both broken up, don't you think I can't be Lin Feng's next girlfriend? Dinan said that Lin Feng already has a new goal. Xiaka Iki said, who? Dinan said, I can't tell you. Xiaka Iki wanted to know who Lin Feng's next target was, but Dinan didn't tell her. It doesn't matter if you don't tell me. It's very close to where Lin Feng lives. I can ask him. Kaiki, just stay awake, Lin Feng has never regarded you as his dish. If you ran over and asked him this question, do you think he would give you a good face? You might as well be like me and be with Lin Feng. Forget about being a good friend, you can get more happiness this way. Dinan's heartfelt words made Xiaka Iki's heart even more unhappy. Xiaka Iki believes that if she loves a man very much, if she can only be ordinary friends with this man, it will be a loss. Losing is a cruel thing for a woman, because losing means she will never get it in her whole life. I went to find Lin Feng. Don't go, just stay in the store and chat with me. I want you to take care of it. Xiaka Iki walked towards the community where Lin Feng lived. Dinan stood outside the store and looked at Xiaka Iki's back. She shook her head helplessly. She didn't know what Lin Feng would do to her after seeing Xiaka Iki. Lin Feng had just fallen asleep for less than 10 minutes when the phone rang, and he woke up instantly, and when he saw that it was Xiaka Iki calling, he was immediately depressed. At this time, the last thing he wanted to see was Xiaka Iki, because he didn't mean anything to Xiaka Iki, but Xiaka Iki fell in love with him. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommendation and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 258. If he hangs up the phone, Xiaka Iki will call back soon, even if he turns off the phone, Xiaka Iki will call. Lin Feng quickly thought of the waves caused by Xiaka Iki's fiery red lip print on his face, which made him and Shang Yuna have a cold war for a long time. Although his final breakup with Shang Yuna was not due to Xiaka Iki's mischief, he still has a fresh memory in his memory. Xiaka Iki couldn't be allowed to go crazy with him, otherwise it would bring him endless trouble. At the same time, Lin Feng also considered Xiaka Iki because he didn't want to play with Xiaka Iki. Lin Feng picked it up and said coldly, "You really know how to call. I'm sleeping. You disturbed my good dream. I haven't seen you for a long time. I just heard my voice so fierce. Do you think I'm a friend?" Xiaka Iki was so angry that even though she was standing on the street, her hips still twisted. Although her appearance is average, her figure is very hot, and when she twists like this, it is even more rippling, which severely stimulates a few men passing by. Lin Feng said, "I consider you a friend, but you should also consider my feelings, right? A person should also consider others while thinking about himself." Xiaka Iki didn't know what to say for a while. Obviously, she angered Lin Feng before they met. She wanted to make Lin Feng smile happily because of her, and she wanted to make Lin Feng stand upright because of her. Unfortunately, she made Lin Feng angry again. Very aggrieved. Very unhappy. Xiaka Iki's tears flowed out, and she spoke in a crying voice, "I want to see you." Did Xiaka Iki cry? She must be crying, otherwise her voice wouldn't be like that. Lin Feng was even more depressed than before. After thinking about it for a while, he decided to meet her, "Then come here." "I'm here. Then I'll open the door for you." Lin Feng walked out of the door of the unit building. Seeing Xiaka Iki standing a few meters away, She is always so hot. Xiakaiki deliberately made her steps more elegant. Perhaps Lin Feng likes elegant women the most. For example, the beautiful teacher Shang Yuna is a very elegant woman. Maybe Shang Yuna and Lin Feng will be crazy when they get on the bed, and they will be very violent when they tilt their butts. But she is indeed graceful when she walks on the road. When Shang Yuna was still Lin Feng's girlfriend, Xiakaiki had imagined many times what posture Lin Feng and Shang Yuna would use at that time, whether Lin Feng liked to crawl on Shang Yuna's body and use force or like Shang Yuna to ride on him bump your ass. Maybe the two of them prefer to use other difficult moves, moves that the ancestors have never used, and the two of them invented by themselves. Whenever I think of these, Xiakaiki's body would be extremely wet, and she really wanted Lin Feng to belong to her. Now that Lin Feng and Shang Yuna are clear, she thinks her chance has come, maybe her spring is coming. She wants to be in love. She wanted to be happy to the fullest. She wanted many people around her to envy her. She used to envy others, and it was time for others to envy her. Together to the master bedroom. Xiakaiki began to taste the smell of this room attentively. She likes the smell emanating from Lin Feng's body. If Lin Feng allows her, she would like to kiss Lin Feng's whole body with her red lips and long tongue. Make him comfortable. Make him ecstasy. Let him realize that Xiakaiki is the best woman in the world. Sit down, Lin Feng said. Oh. Xiakaiki's round buttocks fell on the sofa, the tears in her eyes hadn't completely disappeared, but she smiled brightly at Lin Feng. Xiakaiki had already used her seduction technique, but Lin Feng did not look at her with warm eyes. Lin Feng brought tea over and sat beside Xiakaiki. You want to see me so much? Did something happen? Tell me, who bullied you? I'll beat him up. Xiakaiki followed Lin Feng's meaning and said, I am really bullied, but you can't beat that man easily, because beating him will make you pay a heavy price. Lin Feng just said that just to express a meaning. He regarded Xiakaiki as a friend. If Xiakaiki needed help, he would be very happy. Hearing Xiakaiki say this, he was a little confused. Could it be that he guessed correctly? Xiakaiki was really bullied, so she found him? He said, who bullied you? You. I rely on. Do you want to rely on yourself? Then you are really capable, Xiakaiki laughed. Tall are rippling. The slender legs are swaying. Lin Feng thought it was what really happened, but he didn't expect that Xiakaiki was teasing him. Lin Feng would not beat himself easily, and it was even more impossible for him to rely on himself. He said coldly, do you think it's fun to play this kind of joke with me? Xiakaiki said, if Dainan played such a joke with you, would you be so angry too? In fact, Dainan often joked with him before, but he still said, Dainan would not joke with me like this. Oh, is there anything wrong with you? Something happened. Just talk about it. Lin Feng picked up a cigarette and was about to grab the lighter to light it, but Xiakaiki grabbed his hand. Xiakaiki wanted to grab the lighter and light a cigarette for Lin Feng, but Lin Feng's hand was as hard as steel. She didn't even know how strong Lin Feng's hand was. After working hard for a long time, the lighter was still in Lin Feng's hand. I want to light a cigarette for you. Why? Because you want to smoke, Xiakaiki said. But I want to make my own. I'll give you some, it won't poison you, although smoking is harmful to your health. Xiakaiki's smile became charming, but her eyes were still moist. Lin Feng was kind and sometimes evil, but this could not change his kind heart. He began to think whether he was being cruel to Xiakaiki. If his attitude towards Xiakaiki was a little blurry, there would be fewer conflicts and he would eat a lot of tofu, but this would not benefit the two of them at all. When Lin Feng hesitated, Xiakaiki grabbed the lighter and lit the cigarette for him. She smiled charmingly, I can finally tell you now, in fact, I came here to comfort you. I don't need comfort. You've already fallen out of love, and it's the second time you've fallen out of love, don't you need comfort, Siaka said tenderly. Lin Feng was very annoyed, because Siaka was not comforting him, but rubbing salt on his wounds. The last thing he wanted to hear now was the word lovelorn. This will affect his state of mind and affect the state of his code words. He has finally reached 1,000 words and 100 words. He hopes that his code word state can be very good every day, so as to charge to a higher place. If the man sitting beside him was a man, he would slap him and make the nostrils bleed from the nostrils of this very unspeakable person, but sitting next to him was Siaka, a very hot woman who really wanted to be him girlfriend woman. Even if you don't want to be close to her, you can't easily spank her face. A woman's face is for others to see, but her is not easy for others to see. Siaka is very hot and unrestrained, but Lin Feng has already learned that she is not a particularly casual woman, so she will not be easily seen by others. But Lin Feng said, I have already comforted myself, so I don't need you to continue comforting me. It's really interesting, you can't rely on yourself, but you can comfort yourself, Siaka said. Lin Feng laughed, frowned slightly and looked at Siaka face. Fuck, are you tired of living? Have you the ability to hit me? Siaka neck froze, looking very fearless. Lin Feng didn't plan to hit Siaka just now, and he doesn't plan to hit her now, just smoking. After a few minutes of silence, Siaka whispered, remember what I said to you before. Lin Feng remembered that Siaka had told him before that he and Shang Yuna were not suitable and would break up sooner or later, but he still said, what did you say to me before? Siaka said, not only did you not take me to heart, but you also did not take what I said to heart. It's because I didn't take you to heart, so I didn't take what you said to heart. You have to figure out the cause and effect relationship. What wise words did you say before? Siaka said, I said, you and Shang Yuna are not suitable, the two of you will break up sooner or later, you didn't care at the time, as if you and Shang Yuna can really last forever. How about now, the two of you haven't broken up yet? Are you here to comfort me or to ridicule me? You don't need my comfort, so I'll taunt you. Siaka head shook a few times, looking cute, but Lin Feng's hand pinched the back of her neck, causing her a lot of pain. Oh! What are you doing? Do you want to kill me in this room? If you want this, go to bed and I'll give you a chance to kill me. Very brave. Crazy. Siaka shout just now surprised Lin Feng, and at the same time made him understand Siaka state of mind more. If he wanted to take off Siaka pants and do that, she would not object. Lin Feng said, don't be stupid. If we are the two of us, it is estimated that I have played with you, and there will be no other results. Siaka said, I'm willing to let you play. Do you want to play with me? If you want, you can start now. Lin Feng said, maybe it will be fun to play with you, but I don't want to play with you. It's not that Lin Feng has never played with women before, but he can't easily let Siaka play, because Siaka wants to be his girlfriend, and he will face huge trouble after enjoying it, and at the same time, it will also hurt Siaka too much. It doesn't matter to each other, you can play. If one of the two has so-called, it cannot be played easily. Siaka said, I don't mind. Lin Feng said, but I don't mind. He thought to himself, don't you really mind? I'm afraid that when I get on you, you will stick to me. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommendation and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read. Peach Youth. Author, Sci-fi. Chapter 259. Siaka began to think about a very confusing question. If she took off her clothes, what would Lin Feng's reaction be? Will he pounce like a hungry wolf? Will two fiery bodies become entangled together and become hot? Xiakaiki was very impulsive, and the gaze that fell on Lin Feng's face was extremely hot, and she almost undressed in front of Lin Feng's face, but she still held back. Doing so may cause Lin Feng to think that she is a bitch, which is equivalent to widening the distance between her and Lin Feng. Lin Feng definitely doesn't want A to be his girlfriend. Be elegant. Be reserved. Xiakaiki was still quite moral, and she instantly became reserved in front of Lin Feng. She was suspected of pretending, but there was no trace of pretending. Lin Feng blew out a breath of smoke, and the smile on the corner of his mouth was a little cold. Actually, you are also very good, and you will naturally reap the love that belongs to you in the future. You are wasting your time by spending your time with me. Why don't you just be a friend? I do not. Then what do you want? Be your woman. Come on, Lin Feng growled. Xiakaiki was startled, her expression changed, and she calmed down a little after a while. What are you coming? You have a nice mouth. Oh, do you want to kiss me? That's right, Lin Feng said. Xiakaiki took the initiative to pounce on Lin Feng's arms, her towering chest slammed into him violently, soft and warm. During the hug, Lin Feng and Xiakaiki kissed passionately. He quickly walked towards the big soft bed with Xiakaiki in his arms. Xiakaiki's heart was beating wildly, she felt that Lin Feng was going to take off her panties. When the two hot bodies rolled onto the bed, Lin Feng was pressing on Xiakaiki. But he quickly lay aside. Xiakaiki was still looking at the ceiling and panting. She said, "Come on, no matter what you do, I won't blame you." Lin Feng said, "I said just now, your mouth is very good. Don't you understand what I mean?" Xiakaiki then understood that Lin Feng said that her mouth was good, not only wanted to kiss, but also wanted her to use her mouth. Love him anyway. Do anything. You don't even mind that kind of thing, would you mind using your mouth? Xiakaiki took the initiative to help Lin Feng take off his pants, and quickly used her rosy mouth. Busy for a long time. Lin Feng's gigantic body shocked her, and at the same time she was exhausted. It was indeed a very pleasant thing to waste her energy in intoxication. Refreshing. It's cool, Lin Feng said. Then can you cheer me up too? Okay, you crawl onto the bed, Lin Feng said. Oh. It turned out that he wanted to use this posture. What about him? Just cooperate. Xiakaiki crawled onto the bed. Lin Feng found that this hot woman seemed a little bit incapable of posing. But Xiakaiki's buttocks swayed a few times towards Lin Feng, and Lin Feng saw the heat. Lin Feng did not stun Xiakaiki with this fiery gesture, but held her waist with one hand, and twisted her buttocks with the other. Oh ah! It hurts. Ah! Very painful. Lin Feng worked very hard and did not feel empty at all. Xiakaiki was indeed in great pain. She felt a few pieces of flesh being ripped off her buttocks, which was many times more painful than accidentally falling to the ground while walking. Xiakaiki looked at Lin Feng coldly. Teeth bit her lip, tears streaming down her face. You're a pervert. I made you so cool just now, but now you've screwed me up. I'm just a pervert. If you get too close to me, I will often use perverted methods to deal with you. This time I'm your butt. In the future, I may feed you chili noodles or tie you up without giving you water. I won't give you food to drink. Lin Feng's eyes were sharp and cold, and he didn't mean to joke at all. It sounded extremely terrifying. Xiakaiki was frightened, her soft body kept shaking. Fuck off. You, what the did you just say? Fuck off, Lin Feng said again. Oh, I'm going. It's not the egg, it's not the egg, it's the egg. Xiakaiki finally decided to leave the room immediately, and Lin Feng in front of her made her almost ignorant. But hurt so much. It was as if her legs were also hurting. Xiakaiki almost crawled from the bed to the ground. Lin Feng felt very uncomfortable. He didn't want to treat Sakaiki like that at all, but he didn't know what to do to make Sakaiki give up. If Sakaiki continued to pester him, it would be of no benefit at all. When Sakaiki limped onto the street, it soon became a special scene, and many passers-by looked at her. Although Sakaike's face is very ordinary, her hot body is enough to make her among the ranks of beauties. Many people have said that she is a beauty before, and Sakaike also thinks she is a beauty in her heart. Many people are discussing. What happened to that beauty? She must have been injured. Seeing that she can't even walk normally, let's go take a look. Suddenly, several young men came over. Sakaike was shocked. Not good. If you encounter a rogue in this situation, you will be unable to run even if you want to. Beauty, do you need any help? Seeing that you are walking so hard, why don't I help you go? Need not. You really don't need help. None of our brothers are bad people. We just want to help when we encounter beautiful women and get injured on the road. You all get out of here. This beauty has such a big temper. Several young men were very depressed. Fortunately, they were not hooligans and walked away in disappointment. Even if it is not a hooligan, if there is a perfect opportunity to hunt for sex, it will not be easily missed, such as those men who are used to fishing for women in bars. In fact, these people can't do two bad things. They won't force their opinions or be too violent. They maintain the mentality of willing people to take the bait. If they have a whim, they may do something good. If there is a little girl who needs help, they may contribute a few $100 and shed tears of sympathy, which is the nobility of the hunter. It took a long time. Sakaike walked to the feminine fashion store. At this time, Dinan was sitting on the edge of the cashier, complacent, because 5 bags were sold in less than half an hour. Seeing Sakaike's hot sweat dripping with pain, Dinan was taken aback. What's wrong with you? Hurry up and let me sit down. But Sakaike jumped up as soon as she sat down. The soft body staggered a few times and almost hit the shelf, but fortunately Dinan helped him. It hurts. Mother is going to hurt. Your hurts. How did you make it? Linfeng did it? Can you make it clearer? How did he get your ass? Dinan said. Screw it, twist it so hard. It hurts my mother to death. Damn it, Sakaike burst into tears. Dinan breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that Linfeng had exploded Sakaike's chrysanthemum in a depressed situation. If that was the case, it would be a bit too cruel. Dinan sighed, looking at the way you are now, you can be as embarrassed as you want. If you can listen to me. Don't go to him, it won't be so painful. That kid is too ruthless. He asked me to give him that with his mouth, and after I made him comfortable, he screwed my heart. Is he a pervert? Sakaike seriously suspected that Linfeng was a little perverted. Dinan knows Linfeng very well, she must know. Linfeng is not a pervert. The reason why he treats Sakaike like this is to scare her so as to avoid messy things in the future. But if she said that Linfeng was not a pervert, then Sakaike would entangle Linfeng in the future. Since Linfeng meant it this way, it would be good to push the boat with the current. Dinan said in his heart, Linfeng, I'm sorry, you were the best person in my heart, but now I can only say that you are a pervert. You really want to know? Definitely want to know, Dinan. Tell me quickly, is he a pervert? Sakaike said anxiously. Dinan looked in the direction of the door and made sure that no customers would come in within a minute, so he said, he's a bit perverted. Oh. It turns out that Linfeng, who he loves, is a person with a perverted plot. This man is horrible. If you are a girlfriend to this kind of man, all of them may die in his hands. Love is wonderful, but there are men and women who have lost their lives for love. Some men stab women, and some women stab men. In order to make love safe, you must ensure that the other party is a normal person. There was a chill in Sayakaiki's heart, and she said in a trembling voice, "It seems that the pain I'm suffering now is self-inflicted. I'll ignore that in the future, and you don't need to ignore him anymore." Dainan said, "But he is my partner, you can rest assured, I don't want to be his girlfriend, even if he is very perverted, he has nothing to do with me." The pain in Sayakaiki's buttocks didn't seem to ease at all. It could be said that she couldn't sit still. She could only bend her body and help her to the cashier. She said, "Do you think Shang Yuna and Lin Feng broke up because Lin Feng is too perverted, always torturing her and making her unbearable?" Dainan said, How do I know? I'm afraid only Shang Yuna knows about it, but even if you ask her, she won't say anything, so you don't have to think about it." Sayakaiki said in a cold voice, "It hurts me to death. My is almost not my own. Lin Feng, this perverted bastard, will never find a girlfriend again in his life." Dainan not only felt that Lin Feng would have a girlfriend in the future, but also felt that Lin Feng's future girlfriend would be very beautiful and outstanding. For example, the beautiful Bamboo, she is very likely to become Lin Feng's next girlfriend. When she wanted to say something to Sayakaiki again, something terrible happened. The beautiful girl Zhu of Beijing Normal University came in. "Sister Nan, oh, Cai, you are also. King Zhu, you are here, just in time, I have something very important to tell you. You and I are here." Sayakaiki limped towards the store. Tian Qingzu looked at her back suspiciously, and quickly looked at Dainan's face. "Sister Nan, she. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommendation and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Peach Youth. Author, Suki Feng. Chapter 260. Dainan originally wanted to whisper to Tian Qingzu, "No matter what Kaiki said, don't believe it," but before she could say it, Sayakaiki shouted again, "Qingzu, come here." "Oh." Tian Qingzu ran to Sayakaiki's side, wondering, "You seem to be injured. Where and how? Let that perverted be tortured by Lin Feng." How did he torture you?" Tian Qingzu couldn't believe his ears. How could a good person like Brother Feng torture Sayakaiki for no reason, and Sayakaiki just said that Lin Feng was a perverted bastard? "He screwed me so hard that I couldn't even walk. I found that he was too perverted. After I asked Dainan, I found out that this Lin Feng is very perverted." What you said, is what you said true?" Tian Qingzu was stunned and his expression was very painful. These were situations that she had never thought of before. "Every sentence is true. You must ignore Lin Feng in the future, or he will torture you with perverted means you didn't expect." When a customer came in, Sayakaiki resisted the urge to continue talking, but her tears were still flashing. She was panting against the wall, looking like she was seriously injured. The three girls who came in looked at Sayakaiki, who was panting against the wall, all with shocked expressions on their faces. Sayakaiki could only force herself to be a little more natural, and what flashed in her mind was that she used her mouth to solve Lin Feng. The scene is also the scene of Lin Feng pinching her ass. Lin Feng humiliated her and brought her pain, and she was about to collapse. Tian Qingzu's heart was in a mess. What she heard just now was completely different from what she knew about Lin Feng. She thought that Lin Feng was a good and capable person, but Sayakaiki said that Lin Feng was a big pervert. Tian Qingzu came to chat with Dainan on something. But now her heart is messed up, and she keeps repeating in her heart, "Brother Feng, are you really a pervert? Is someone so nice to me a pervert?" The three girls just wandered around and went out without buying anything. Dainan thought, "Why don't you buy things, donate some money to Fengnan Fashion Store, you will be happier in the future." Dainan quickly looked at Xiakaiki again, and said helplessly, "Why don't you go first, take a good rest after you go back, and I will visit you." Xiakaiki said, "I'm not leaving. I'm going to sleep with you tonight. If you drive me away, you won't even be friends in the future." At this time, whether it was taking a taxi, taking the bus or taking the subway, it was very painful for Xiakaiki. "If you don't move, the pain in your will be a little lighter. The situation is serious." Dainan was so anxious that she didn't blame Xiakaiki for saying harsh words to her. She said, "Okay, Kaiki, then I'll take you back to my room first." Xiakaiki had no objection, so she walked out with the help of Dainan, while Tian Qingzu watched in the store. It's terrifying, Lin Feng actually hurt Xiakaiki's like that. Why exactly? Could it be that he thought about that Xiakaiki, but Xiakaiki disagreed? So, this is too evil. In the past, Tian Qingzu always said in his heart, "Brother Feng, I admire you so much." But at this moment, she said in her heart, "Lin Feng, I despise you, how could you treat Xiakaiki like that? She is a girl, you are so perverted to her." Walking slowly on the road, Dainan sighed softly, "Kaiki, you really shouldn't have said that to Qingzu, Lin Feng took care of you. That's a matter between you and Lin Feng, and it has nothing to do with Qingzu, you are so frightening." "Is she interesting?" Xiakaiki said, "Qingzu is so kind, I must let her know that Lin Feng is a pervert. Otherwise, she will be hurt by Lin Feng in the future." Dainan thought, "You really thought that Lin Feng would use such cruel means to deal with Tian Qingzu, do you think he would be willing? You asked for it all by yourself, and said that Lin Feng was a pervert. The distance was short, but it took a long time." Xiakaiki, who was in pain, would grin from time to time. Fortunately, she did not walk forward while crying. A hot woman is helping another hot woman to walk forward. One of the hot women is injured. This is already a very unique scene on the street. Opening the door of the partition room, Dainan helped Xiakaiki and walked in. "You lie on the bed." Xiakaiki said that my would still hurt when I lay on the bed. Dainan said, "Then you sit down." Xiakaiki said that sitting will hurt to death. Dainan said, "Then stand." Xiakaiki said, "I can't stand." Dainan said, "Then cut your off." Xiakaiki said, "My God, my legs are on my butt, if I cut my and my legs are gone, I will die. Why are you more perverted than Lin Feng? Forget it, I'll go crawling on the bed." She quickly climbed onto the bed, her round buttocks facing the ceiling, her towering pressing against the bed, and sometimes she would scream, "Oh my God, it hurts me." Dainan knew that Xiakaiki was in pain, and there was no suspicion of pretending. She said helplessly, "My room is not soundproof at all, you'd better not scream, or people outside will hear it clearly." Xiakaiki stopped screaming immediately, thinking in her heart, she was dying of pain, she couldn't even scream, "Is there anyone in this world who suffers more than me?" Dainan walked out and reached the door of Lin Feng's room. He hesitated for a moment before knocking on the door. Lin Feng wanted to sleep, but Xiakaiki couldn't fall asleep after such a toss, so he could only start typing in advance. Cleaning up Xiakaiki didn't make him feel excited, but Xiakaiki's red lips made him very comfortable. Lin Feng's mood can be described as good or bad, and the speed of coding is neither fast nor slow, and sometimes he will remember that he is now a person with 1,000 words and 100 words, and his next goal will be higher. When he heard the knock on the door, he knew it was Dainan. I hope that Dainan didn't come to Xing Shi to ask his guilt. Lin Feng opened the door and smiled at Dainan, "Come in." Dainan first pushed Lin Feng hard, causing him to take 2 steps back, then walked in and closed the door with great force. Dainan walked towards Lin Feng slowly, the eyes on Lin Feng's face were very cold, and the towering chest was almost touching Lin Feng's body, and Dainan's footsteps stopped. At this time, Lin Feng and Dainan were facing each other, and the distance between them would not exceed 5 centimeters. It is unique to appreciate Dainan's beauty at such a close distance. Lin Feng can taste her fragrance and faintly feel the heat radiating from her body. Sure enough, he came to Xin Shi to ask the guilt. Lin Feng was a little embarrassed, and smiled unnaturally. Do you think I'm too cruel to Cai Chi? Dainan said, it's too cruel. You really hurt her this time, not with your thing, but with your hand. Even if it is Xin Shi to ask for guilt, this is a bit too ambiguous. But nothing, Dainan will always show a hot side in front of Lin Feng, such as at this moment. Lin Feng said, I want her to stay away from me. My only purpose for treating her so much is this. I didn't see her was too upturned, so I twisted her. If I just want to eat her tofu, I will use rhetoric about her. She likes me, this is her weakness. If I catch her weakness, I can play with her any way I want, but I'm not that kind of person. Dainan said, I believe what you just said is true. In fact, you can use words to hurt her self-esteem. Abusive and slander are also very effective. Why do you have to make her feel so painful? Lin Feng said that after the pain, it may be much better. In fact, I am also very guilty. I don't want to clean up Kaiki at all. I want to sit down and chat with her like a friend, or sit down to eat at a restaurant, but her attitude makes me not like her. Treat her like a normal friend. Lin Feng was very frank and disappointed. Xia Kaiki's was hurting, and he felt very uncomfortable. Dainan suddenly lost her heart to ask the teacher for guilt. She grabbed Lin Feng's hand, looked at his face, and sighed, what's worse, King's nose. Lin Feng's head suddenly became bigger, and he even heard strange noises in his ears, as if the ultrasound had affected his eardrums. He said bitterly, how did King's know? Dainan said that King's just passed by, and then Kaiki called her over and told her that at this time in King's heart, you were already a pervert. Confused to the extreme. He had left a wonderful impression on the beautiful bamboo, which was romantic and warm. But now beauty bamboo regards him as a pervert, and she saw Xia Kaiki's pain with her own eyes and heard Xia Kaiki's story with her own ears. It has become like this, and I can only face it, Lin Feng said, it's optional, I have nothing to be afraid of. Where is Kaiki, are you leaving? I originally wanted her to go, but she didn't go, she had to sleep with me tonight, so I helped her to my room and was crawling on the bed. Don't you want to give her a meal? Dainan said. If I give her another meal, then she will leave this world in pain, and it will be screwed to death by a man. Forget it, I am too lazy to pay attention to her. Since she wants to sleep with you tonight, then you communicate with her well, Lin Feng said. I'll go first. Kingzu is alone in the store, maybe the business is good. Dainan walked out quickly, the graceful figure was in a hurry, and the scented style was diffused. Lin Feng definitely wouldn't go to Dainan's room to see Xia Kaiki crawling on the bed. He sat on the chair again and continued to code. Maybe Beauty Bamboo can understand him after she understands the truth, and maybe Beauty Bamboo will have a bad impression of him because of this. When Dainan arrived at the store, Tian Qingzu was introducing something to a girl. Normally, she would be happy as long as there were customers in the store, but now she is not happy. The girl bought a few dollars of headwear and went out. Tian Qingzu came over, Sister Nan, I'll go first. Dainan worried and said, are you going to find Lin Feng? Tian Qingzu said, yes, I just want to find him, and I want to ask that in person why he treated Kaiki so cruelly. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommendation and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 261. Dainan said, don't rush to find him first, there are some things I've wanted to tell you, but let Kaiki take the lead. Tian Qingzu said, "What?" Dainan said, "In fact, Lin Feng is not a perverted at all. There is a reason why Lin Feng treats Kaiki like this. Kaiki loves him very much, but he does not want to be boyfriend and girlfriend with Kaiki, in order to prevent future harm to Kaiki. Bigger, so he did this to keep Kaiki away from her." Sounds a little weird. Tian Qingzu had never encountered such a thing before, nor had he seen anyone do it for such a purpose. "Is that so?" "That's it? Sister Nan, your relationship with Brother Feng is very strong. Are you saying that just to save his face?" "Oh, I don't think I need to call him Brother Feng anymore. He is not worthy of being my brother." After hearing what Tian Qingzu said just now, Dainan was very annoyed. It seemed that it was difficult for her to explain this problem clearly. Dainan said angrily, "Since Lin Feng doesn't even have the qualifications to be your brother, then you don't need to go to him, you don't need to ask anything, you don't even need to be a part-time shopping guide in a small store." Tian Qingzu was very sad. She didn't want to hear this at all, but she heard it. It was the woman she trusted very much, and the woman she always called Sister Nan said it herself. Tian Qingzu didn't lose her temper at Dainan. She quickly walked out of Fengnan fashion store and walked towards the school gate, but when she was about to enter the school gate, she changed her mind and decided to go to Lin Feng. She had to find out the truth, because Lin Feng was so kind to her before. She wanted to find out whether Lin Feng's previous kindness to her was an illusion, and if it was an illusion, then people in this world are terrible. Lin Feng was typing on the keyboard when he received a call from Tian Qingzu and said in his heart, "It's over, the beautiful bamboo is coming." He picked it up. He smiled and said, "Qingzu, it's you, what are you doing?" Tian Qingzu said angrily, "I have arrived in the community where you live, you come to pick me up, there are some problems. I want to ask you in person. The person who should come is still here, and the situation that he doesn't want to face still has to be faced." Lin Feng can only stand up angrily and walk out. He saw Tian Qingzu. He saw beauty and purity. Lin Feng said, "You don't need to get too excited, wait until I tell you the truth. You won't be so angry anymore." Tian Qingzu said coldly, "I really want to hear your explanation, but what I want to hear is a frank explanation, not a hypocritical cover-up. If you are a man with flesh and blood, then you should tell me the truth." Lin Feng must be a man of flesh and blood. He has a lot of blood and a lot of blood. He didn't intend to tell Tian Qingzu an illusion. Walking into the house with different partitions and walking in the narrow corridor, Tian Qingzu said, "Go back to your room and wait for me, I'm going to see Kaiki." Lin Feng said, "You don't need to see her." Tian Qingzu said, "I want to see her, so I'm going to see her, it's my business, you don't have to worry about it." Lin Feng said, "If you want to see it, go see it." He went back to his room. At the same time, Tian Qingzu also knocked on the door of Dainan's room. At this time, Xia Kaiki was crawling on the bed with her round buttocks facing the ceiling. Although Lin Feng pinched her buttocks hard, her buttocks were still round. Pain continues. Xia Kaiki would sometimes say, "Lin Feng, you perverted bastard, you screwed me to death." Lin Feng wondered if Xia Kaiki would take off her pants and let Tian Qingzu look at her ass. Hearing the knock on the door, Tian Qingzu, who was crawling on the bed, was very nervous. He didn't know who was knocking on the door. It was definitely not Lin Feng or Dainan. Could it be that the landlord, Shang Yunjuan, came over? Although she has moved away from here, it is equivalent to having no relationship with Shang Yunjuan, but she still does not want this charming woman to see her painful appearance. Just when Xia Kaiki hesitated, Tian Qingzu opened the door and walked in, seeing Xia Kaiki crawling on the bed. She knew very well that Tian Qingzu could only crawl on the bed because her buttocks were injured too badly. "Qingzu, it turns out to be you. Who am I supposed to be? I was startled by the knock on the door just now." You must be hurting, right? It hurts me to death. The injury is serious. Lin Feng is as perverted as he wants. If he hits you, you can despise him to the fullest. It's better to stay away from him as far as possible, Xiakaiki said. He doesn't seem to have hit my mind. That's an illusion. He is very good at pretending, and he won't let you know in advance what he wants to do. When he rushes over like a hungry wolf, it will be too late for you to regret it, Xiakaiki said. Lin Feng is really so unbearable. What do you think he is? Xiakaiki said. If that's the case, why do you still love him? Do I love him? Who told you that I love him? Xiakaiki said. What Sister Nan said, I really believe it. What Sister Nan said you love him is true. This kind of thing from my own mouth is more credible than from Dainan. I can tell you now, I don't love Lin Feng, I despise him, Xiakaiki said. Can I see your ass? For Tian Qingzu, it was a bit too embarrassing to make such a request. Although Xiakaiki was also a woman, she didn't want to easily see Xiakaiki's butt. But if you don't look at her butt, you won't know what kind of injury she is, or how perverted Lin Feng is. Tian Qingzu sometimes doesn't believe her ears, but she always believes in her eyes. Do you really want to see it? Want to see? I'm a little embarrassed. Xiakaiki already wanted Tian Qingzu to see her injured buttocks, but she still said so. Don't be embarrassed, we are all women. Okay, I'll show you. Xiakaiki really took off her trousers, and then her trousers, so that Tian Qingzu could see her ass. Pieces of bruises and serious injuries. Tian Qingzu was frightened, and it took a long time for him to come back to his senses and vibrato. Your injury is really serious, Lin Feng is too perverted. Do you want to go to the hospital? I can take you to the hospital. Xiakaiki said, no need for now, I don't want to move now. Tian Qingzu said, well, if you need help, you can tell me. She walked out and knocked the door of Lin Feng's room. Lin Feng was sitting on the sofa and smoking a cigarette. Hearing such a violent knock on the door, he knew how angry Tian Qingzu was, but he had to walk over and open it. Door. You pervert. The moment he saw Lin Feng, Tian Qingzu scolded and punched Lin Feng in the chest. He didn't know how to do it at all, but Tian Qingzu's punch was very similar, and it might be the strong anger that inspired her. Potential. Lin Feng didn't dodge, and let Tian Qingzu's fragrant fist hit his chest. He felt Tian Qingzu's strength, but he didn't feel the pain. He took 2 steps back in cooperation, and then sat on the sofa. I'll kick you, pervert. What Lin Feng didn't expect was that Tian Qingzu raised his slender legs and kicked him, aiming at his stomach. Even if Tian Qingzu was a very beautiful beauty, Lin Feng didn't want her to be kicked in the stomach, otherwise he would be a little too embarrassed. Lin Feng's right hand waved out and gently pushed Tian Qingzu's leg. Tian Qingzu's body suddenly lost his balance, and if it wasn't for Lin Feng holding her again, he would fall to the ground. Let go of me. Aren't I afraid that you will fall? If you have something to say, sit down and say it, Lin Feng said. Tian Qingzu was much calmer than before, broke free from Lin Feng's hand, and sat on the sofa. I used to think that you were a very good person, capable, righteous, and caring about people. I always call you Brother Feng, I trust you so much. I only know now that you are a perverted bastard. Lin Feng did not deliberately do certain things to impress Tian Qingzu before, but he also cherishes the good impression he has left on Tian Qingzu. A few people are willing to let others say that he is a villain. But now, Lin Feng's good impression on Tian Qingzu has become like this. Even the strong nicotine can't calm his heart. Kaiki can say that, no matter what the reason is, I repaired her after all, and it made her very miserable, but you can't say that. Why can't I? Just because you treated me well before, and because you gave me a fancy dress. Not this, Lin Feng said. What is that? Because I'm not a perverted at all, I'm Kaiki's hard now, and her pain will pass for a while, but if I don't do this, I'll accept how sticky she is to me, then it will be unbearable pain, Lin Feng said. You mean she loves you? She wants to be my girlfriend, Lin Feng said. But Kaiki said just now that she doesn't love you, she hates you. Then hated, Lin Feng said. Tian Qingzu saw Lin Feng's loss, and also saw Lin Feng's sadness. She was silent. Almost half an hour has passed, both of them were silent. Lin Feng lit a cigarette again and said with a smile, Qingzu, think what you want, maybe I have left you a lot, it's a bad impression, but I don't want to restore this impression, let's go. If you still want to work in the store, then continue, and if you don't want to work, ask Dainan to settle the salary. Just when she was silent just now, Tian Qingzu's mind became extraordinarily clear, as if clear spring water was flowing through her mind, cool and clean. This feeling made her think clearly about the essence of the problem. Brother Feng, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have treated you like that just now, you must be in pain. Tian Qingzu jumped into Lin Feng's arms and hugged his waist tightly. The sudden change made Lin Feng a little uncomfortable, but he still hugged Tian Qingzu. Very soft, warm and comfortable. It is a wonderful enjoyment to hug the delicate body of the beautiful bamboo. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommendation and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read.